your final project involves many, many items in the rubric. So if you go to week 8 and you open up the file right here, which I'm actually going to download so I can pull up the table in a larger format, you're going to see quite a few items that you might look at and say, oh, I'm not sure what to do there. So I'm actually going to go through, it's a week away. You can ignore some of the stuff up at the top here where it says the Sunday before week 14. Okay, we don't have a week 14. Our last week before Christmas break is going to be week 11. And then when you come back for your final grading appointments, which I will post sometime over break, I still haven't decided what I'm doing yet because I want to see how many people actually get it done next week and end up presenting it to me then. So just kind of ignore the generic sort of end of week 14 stuff. Just go down here. None of this is changing, obviously. So this is important to you because this is how you're going to get your mark. And while I might be exercising a bit of leniency on other evaluations due to this ridiculous strike that we put you guys through, that is not the case with the final project. The final project is the final project. It's worth 35% of your mark, end of story. This is how you earn the points. Okay, let's start at the top. Mandatory setup, as described in the final project details file. You can do this on XAMPP. You can do this with a remote host. And the remote host does not have to be GoDaddy. But I should not see evidence of this thing having been created well before you were even in this course. And you've just gone in and changed a few colors and stuff like that. Like, I want to know that you guys actually set this up. So this should be a brand new, fresh install. I don't actually apply any points to that because it's kind of an automatic given thing. So if you're not using GoDaddy, it's just like the beginning of the test or the beginning of our demo site. You just create a database, give it a name, download WordPress from wordpress.org, blah, blah, blah. In fact, you can go right here, not to the snipping tool. You can go right here in FOL. In the same week where the final project details are discussed, which would have been week 8, and there's a final project setup video right there. I don't know why people are still setting it up now, but this is happening today if you haven't done it, okay? So once that's done, as we continue through, research an appropriate topic, and you choose a topic, and I'll know about your topic when you turn in your planning post, which is due this Sunday. That might be done now, depending on when you're watching this video, but that's 3 points, okay? So 3 points. I think only one time did I ever not give someone those 3 points because they literally didn't pick a topic. It was like final project website, and they talked about like different things they did at school, and then there was another page about the car they had, and another page that showed the weather that day. There was literally no purpose or overall theme for what they'd done, so they didn't get those 3 points. Okay, create a fully functional menu with appropriate parent and child links. There has to be some reason why you would have some drop-down links. I don't like these big giant menus. I think it busies up sites. A lot of themes, even in full screen format on like a desktop computer, are now even using the mobile menu because people just are so comfortable with it they don't want to deal with all these menus. They want to click into the drop down. So when I talk about menus, what I mean is, and I'm using my brother's site as the example here, when you go into appearance menus, or you would go into customize, you can work on menus from customize as well. I should see that you've created your own menu. You haven't just allowed WordPress to auto complete the menu for you and it's just in the order with the pages you've completed. I have taken points off for this. So this was a big part of the test. A lot of people missed this because they didn't get to that part. Most WordPress themes will auto-generate a menu. Some WordPress themes will just not make a menu at all. Whichever one it is, you have to go in, create a menu and save it, and then you customize how you want it to look. And you can pull stuff into the menu from here, most of which we've discussed. Okay, so there should be a menu. Okay, next. You should have some absolute and relative links within your content, okay? You're getting 5 points for your menu. I'm not giving you 2 more points because your menu worked. Your menu's automatically going to work in WordPress, okay? You should also, somewhere in your content with a little bit of frequency, I want to see at least a few links that link to somewhere else in your site or somewhere off the site. Okay, then I'm offering another 2 points for having absolute links where you actually put some information in it. So this is a sneaky thing that I've never taught you this. Oh, no, I think I did. I think I talked about it in the web workshop. It's just, I still am a big believer in keywords. I think keywords are useless if you don't have good content. I think keywords are useless if nothing about your site is engaging. But assuming you have spent some time on making a good looking website with really high quality content, these keywords still matter, and you need to use them everywhere you can. Now, this is a place that Yoast actually used to allow and include in the plugin. They don't anymore, but I still use it if I'm going through and adding links and spending the time on it. So you're going to get 2 points if you have some relative and absolute links. If you don't have any absolute links, you get 1 point. If you don't have any relative links, you get, like, I know I'm kind of nickel and diming here, but these aren't these are very easy things to get. So when I talk about this, what I mean is, and I'll show you, I'm going to jump back over here. If I was to go to one of my brother's pages, let's go to the front page there. He's got some content there. And I wanted to link to one of his posts. He's got Page Builder, so I got to use it in Page Builder. Okay. And I wanted to link to one of his posts. Oh my God. Nope, this isn't the best. Yeah, there we go. So if it's fine that he has Page Builder. If you're using a Page Builder tool, you want to get into the objects in the Page Builder tool to get back to the visual and text edit. So how do I do a hyperlink? I do a hyperlink by highlighting the text I have. I go there to the link. Okay, I know this looks a little different because I'm inside a Page Builder, but just ignore here. You know what? Let's get out of Page Builder because everybody's Page Builder is going to look a little different if you even have that. I should not have to show you how to do hyperlinks anyway, but let's pretend I do. I'm not talking about stuff in your menu. Okay, so let's say I made a post, okay, and I was linking to some ESL Foundation thing. His site's all about language and language at work, or proper legal terminology, and I can use it in a sentence, right? I'm just showing you an example. I would go here, okay, I would go right into the settings before I even put the link in there, then put the URL in there. So let's just say, I'm sure legalterms.com is a website, I'm just guessing. How could nobody have gotten that one? So it's been harvested. So you put that in there. You have to have the HTTP. Notice that I'm in Firefox and it doesn't show that anymore in front of it, but when you copy it out of the address bar, it's always there. You have to have the HTTP. And if it's an absolute link, which means it's not within your website, you will open that in a new tab. Cool, done. And then I'm talking and I'm talking and I'm writing more text and la la la. And here's another link, okay? And this link is going to be to something internally in your website. Go here, do hyperlink. Okay, I'm going to link to the contact page right there. I'm not going to open that up as a new tab because that's a relative link. I don't need to do that. Add link and it's done. I shouldn't have been required to go through these hyperlinks. Well, that's kind of neat. The CSS in this website shows absolute links with a different color than relative links. Oh no, that's because I've visited it. That's the visited CSS. Yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah, it's like, I never saw that CSS before. So that's hyperlinks. Now here's this little extra 2-point thing down lower. So have some of those links, okay? That's 2 points for having links outside of your menu. Down here, I'm offering 2 more points for showing me that you use the title tag with one of your links at least once somewhere in your website. So what this is if you go to the text view, you can actually add into the hyperlink. You know how you can add attributes and values. We went through all this in the web workshop. One of those tags is title, one of those attributes. And inside of it, in quotes, you can put the keywords, okay, that are associated with where that link goes. And it's another place that you can have keywords. Very few people still use this. Everyone thinks it's dead. But if it's not going to do anything negative for your ranking, I would always suggest. Now, having said that, I've stopped using the meta keywords tag a long time ago, up in the top of the page where Yoast, that's why it's totally been pulled out of the Yoast plugin. You can't even use it anymore. But this is something that I think is still valuable because it gives someone more information about it too when they hover over it, because the title will actually come up and explain what it is. So when I go back here, I guess I could just view this. Let's publish this. Yeah, see, it still works even in visual view. So it gives people information when they hover over the link about what it is. You should use link titles. Nobody talks about them anymore. And it's yet another place for keywords. So I know I never taught you that, but I always sneak it in there right before the final project is due. And for the people that are paying attention, sneaking down here, there's another 2 points you're going to get. Any questions? Okay, very good. 4 more points for having a custom logo. And next week, the week before we go off for Christmas, I am going to go through sort of a crash course, revisit Photoshop, how to do a quick font-based thing, sometimes your theme allows you to do it too. Sometimes themes come with something that's customizable and you can set up a logo in that way. And I've done something like this on my website. Like I'm a big, I'm a marketing prof, right? So I'm really big on branding. And here, actually have to look. Okay, this has nothing to do with points in your final project, but I'm just throwing this in there. This is using a plugin. There's a variety of plugins that'll do this. Under construction page, coming soon pages. You can change a setting in your WordPress theme with a plugin that will set it up so nobody can see anything in there until you fix whatever it is that's going on. Or in the process of creating a new website that really isn't even indexed yet, so who cares? You can just, this is very, very negative that I have my site down like this for now going on 3 days because this stupid feed thing still isn't working. But it is what it is. And as soon as I log in, I will actually be able to see what's going on in there. Okay, so what I was talking about there on the next one, when I was talking about branding and custom logos, like I don't expect you to do what I did, but I want to show you what I did and tell you how I did it because it took me like maybe 15 minutes. So I was looking for a way to sort of brand myself beyond the brokerage that I work for. And I made this with a free, I can't even remember which one now. I just Googled free logo makers and I made that thing. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, what have I already talked about? And this was years ago, right? And now I'm regretting ever branding myself this way because my complete and entire focus is on one specific marketplace and it's not in my domain. Grand Bend, it's just not there. So there's all sorts of SEO issues I could discuss with this, but this is done with a free logo maker. It was like a nothing thing. They had all these different pieces I could put in and just put something together, and it looked kind of cool. Okay, so I'm not saying you guys have to do that. What I'm saying is you have to have something beyond just typing the text in the title area. That's not good enough for me. There should be some sort of logo. And that's the last thing. That's my last and final lecture next week is revisiting Photoshop, because I know you guys had the Adobe course. Then we'll most of them are font-based logos. There's a bunch of stuff in there if you want to go ahead and look at week 10. But that's 4 points. 6 points for widgets, okay? You don't get 6 points by having like archives, categories, and the stuff that like comes in your widget area. And you might be using a theme like mine. I'm not using the sidebar widget area right now. I'm only using the footer area. But I have gone in and customized my widgets in my footer. This is what I want to be using. When I go to like a standard page, I do have my standard sidebar widgets, and I put in a mortgage calculator. I have links to Grand Bend resources. I just did this with a text widget. Remember on the test I told you to say, hi, professor? I have a weather widget because I'm talking about a town. It kind of makes sense. And then I have, my theme allows me to do different versions of the sidebar. Let me go here. So I can choose other things to put in there too. I have another one where I'm converting. I have a currency converter for my American shoppers when they're looking at listing right here. See, so you can, and I have site search in that widget sidebar, so people can always search the site because my theme doesn't have that right at the top like a lot of themes do. So how do you get those 6 points? Show me that you did something different with your widgets, okay? I don't want every single person in the class to put a weather widget in. There's some kind of thing you can put. Look at all this different crap I got in there, okay? This widget came with my feed tool that I pay the subscription base for. That comes with a bunch of widgets too. So if you've installed some plugins like WooCommerce, or you have a Woo theme because you're doing retail stuff, you should go into widgets and see what's available there. You'd be surprised how much stuff starts appearing there. Look at all this stuff as the result of a plugin. So I have a lot more than you. My brother's site, where he has a lot less going on in terms of plugins and advanced functionality. That he doesn't have a whole lot of widgets there that he could use. Okay, he can do a custom menu there in the widgets, which is kind of cool. I think everybody can do that. That's the kind of an automatic one. So you get the 6 points for your widgets by customizing them. Some of you, in the context of a website that's mostly a blog, you can put a little bit of more stuff in there, but you might still use the search bar, categories, tags. You might leave those things in there. I don't generally ever have archives in my widgets to start with, because if I'm just starting a website, when I say to start with, I don't have any archives yet. So why would I leave that in my widgets? It doesn't make any sense. That's like your older posts. So it's mostly set up for blog-driven sites, so that's how it was originally set up. But now you can put all sorts of stuff in widgets. So widgets, 6 points. Don't spend a ton of time on it. Just do something different. I know I haven't talked much about them since before our break, as I keep calling it, the strike. But there's not a whole lot to them. There's going to be a plugin that does almost everything, and certain plugins will provide widget functionality. Next, appropriate substantial use of relevant images and graphics. Well, how many, Mike? 5 pictures? Is 6 enough? Is 10 enough? I don't know. If you're setting up a website for a professional photographer, then no, 10 is not even close to enough. Okay? If you're setting up a website for a special event, then you might only have 10 reasons to even have images. But generally speaking, if I go in and I see like 2 images, you're not getting credit for that. I'm not giving you an exact amount, but there should be images and graphics specific to what you're doing. And if your theme came with a bunch of crap that you don't need for your project, you need to remove that. Don't leave it in there, because that's all part of your graphics points. Now, scrolling down a little bit further, have you properly optimized them with alternative text and keywords? And I'm going to show you a common mistake that students make when they upload pictures. So students often insert the images directly into the page or post. So where was that crappy post I was just working on? So here's a post. Okay, I want to insert an image in here, so I'm going to go add media. Okay, and I'm going to go, this is the example I used in the other class. I'm going to put this hockey player picture in there. Okay, and then I'm going to keep writing. And I want it to align with the text going right next to it. So I go left align, and the text is up there. I'm like, this is good. And then I just have it in there. Okay, so it's in there. And then I go back to the final project rubric, and I say, oh, crap, I got to do alternative keywords and description. So I click this, and it only gives me the option to do alternative text. You're not required to do a caption. A caption is something that comes right underneath the picture and is sort of set up to be aligned in the right place. Okay, so a hockey player dude, right? That's not really optimizing it in terms of explaining to Google or the search engines what's in the picture. So that would be down here. So you'd say Edmonton Oilers. I don't know who that is. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but NHL, hockey dude. You'd probably come up with more proper keywords and name the hockey player that it is, and you have alternative text. But that, you're still not done. Okay, are you guys watching this? This is the mistake that everybody makes. They put all the stuff into the pages and posts as they're building, okay, and they just throw it in there, right? Or somehow, here, let's say it wasn't already in the media library, okay, and that's one of the first issues. You actually went and uploaded it from here. Okay, so I got a picture. Here's a picture. Hopefully this is a picture of something appropriate. So this is a picture of something, and apparently it's a larger file because it's taking a bit to upload. And then I go insert. So come on, go thing. This is already getting way longer than I want it to be. Thing, go. Oh, it's my kids' Christmas pictures, okay? So as you're doing this, and the picture uploads, and that's the one I was trying to get to work, most people just go insert. And they figure they'll worry about the details later. Okay, they insert in the post. Now, what you've missed when you were putting it into the media library is that in the media library, if I go right to the media library here, whenever you upload stuff, it gives you the opportunity to put in alternative text and a description. Okay, so let's say this was advertising for these, so Christmas bows by Genie. I'm just totally making this up. I don't know. And then Christmas bows by Genie 3 for $5 until, like, you could put whatever you want in the description. The description is actually the meta description for the page. So watch, when I update this, okay. So you don't have to save it. It's just updated automatically. Sorry, my text is really small. If I view the attachment page, this is the page where that is. So that description comes up with that page, and that's also the description that the search engine will see as another component or piece in your website. So it's alternative keywords. I know Yoast is only looking at that within the context of the page or post. I want the description too. Okay, so in addition to this, 6 points for having them, there's another 4 points for optimizing them. Do you guys understand that? And it's not just the alt keywords. So I'll jump back into that media library one more time. So the best way to do it is, if you've already uploaded a bunch of pictures and you weren't paying attention to this, go to the media library and go through each one and start. So when I get your site, I'm going to click on the first picture and I'm going to go, okay, good, you optimized 2 and that was it. So sorry, you're not getting the points. Okay. In addition to that, the title that you give them should also be something. Have you guys seen Office Space? Not The Office, but the actual movie Office Space. Pretty funny. Classic 90s stuff. It's made by the same guy, Beavis and Butthead. It's really good, like, movie on, like, the cubicle environment. I've already talked about this in this class, haven't I? Maybe it was the other section. It's awesome. It's, like, very clever and funny, and just, it's good. The part when they break the printer. Who's seen it? Yeah, okay. So, just a few people. So when they take the printer out with the baseball bat, they start smashing it up, and they're playing Ghetto Boys in the background. It's really good. So anyway, so there's stuff in here that needs a further description, like Lumberg, the character, and it's not here, right? And you could talk about the purpose of the website and why Lumberg is being used and even make a joke in there, but it's not there. And you can't even do the description inside the page or post. It has to be done in the media library. Now, if you do all this ahead of time and then start putting it all into your site, then it automatically has the alternative text already set up, which is great. The other thing, do not come up with an alternative text and a description and then just paste the same thing for every single image. Okay, that's cheating. All right, if you want the 4 points, spend 20 minutes on it. All right, I'm sorry. You're going to have to earn these points. Moving on. Let's go down to the next thing. At least 2 YouTube and videos. Okay? Embedded in your content. When I say embedded, I don't mean you have to do the resize embed code like I made you do on the test, and a lot of you didn't get credit for. You can just use the share link if you want. Technically, that's better optimized because then it resizes within the page with however much space it has. Okay? 2 YouTube videos. 6 points. That's it. That's probably the easiest thing in the whole thing. It's cut and paste 2 links. They should be relevant to your content. I've had students that have made their own, that, of course, the whole rest of their, yeah, I know. Waters is laughing back there, like, who's going to do that? You are now. You're required to now. No, I'm kidding. You're not going to have to do that. Yeah, you have a special rubric. No, so, yeah, you don't have to do that, okay? Including Jacob, all right? He does not have to do that. Oh, you wanted to do it. Oh, no. Oh, now he's upset. So, okay, so the videos can be anything relevant to the site, 6 points. I'm spending too much time talking about this stuff. Effective use of categories and tags, all right? You're posting, you need to be using categories and tags. I'm not talking about the optimizing them with Yoast. I'm just talking about using them. So my brother doesn't have any posts, so let's jump over to my website, okay? So if I go in here and I go to one of my posts about the Conservation Authority, okay, I also have posts set up with my theme as properties. So I've made a bunch of categories and tags that way. I've categorized and tagged them. I don't want to see stuff where it says uncategorized and you have no tags. I know that I have that, and I've already made it very clear to you that my website is pretty crappy, okay? It's a learning tool. That's what my website is. So you need to use these. When I go into categories and tags, so here's how I'll mark this. I want to see that you have categories and tags beyond uncategorized. Tags, categories, cool, you got some, okay? I also am going to look at the color coding for the Yoast. I want to see that at least 3 categories and 3 tags you've bothered to go in and actually give them a description, which does not have to be 300 words, okay? You don't have to make it green. Give it a few sentence description. If you want to go 300, that's fine. And then do the snippet. Now, how is it that there's a snippet for a freaking category? Well, I've shown you in our blogging lecture, and then again earlier in the week, that when you have these categories, they are actually a location in your website. So if I go view, this is category, the name of the category, and then it shows everything that's been categorized that way. Which is why when you go to menus, you can actually use categories in your menu. You can do tags too if you want to. So this should be optimized. Everywhere you can optimize, you should optimize. I don't care if it made or break a sale or if it made or broke a sale or not. You should do it, okay? It's if anything at all, it's a better way to communicate to your users what's going on with that part of your website. And categories is a part. So you need to have categories and tags. And you need to get rid of uncategorized if your theme lets you do it. So the best way to do that is to take the sample post and get it right out of the trash. What's going on back there? Why are you laughing at me? What's happening? Okay, so take the sample post, get it out of the trash, or put it in the trash, clear the trash. Then you have nothing that's uncategorized, and it should let you delete uncategorized. Some themes don't. So you're not going to get points off if you still have uncategorized in there. You're only going to get points off if you use uncategorized, okay? You should be using actual categories. I realize that some of you may not need the blog. I'm going to talk about that in a second, okay? So let's go back to the list. Use categories and tags, which means you have to have at least a few posts to be able to do that, okay? And then you would have at least a few categories and tags, and then you can optimize those. I'd like to see more than 3 posts. I can think of a million reasons to use the posting section of your WordPress site, the posting functionality of it that allows you to update frequently. Download a GA plugin. Let's all do that right now together. You'll have 2 points for sure when you go to turn it in. Okay? So go into plugins, go to installed plugins, go add new. The one I use on my website, which is really cool because it gives you dashboard functionality on the main dashboard page, so I can go in and I get this little snapshot of my GA right here. This is Google Analytics dashboard by W something. For WP. Yeah, I think it's got like an acronym for it. Google Analytics dashboard for WP. There's about 4 or 5 good ones. This is the one that I like. I don't care which one you install. I'm just going to look in your plug. You literally are getting 2 points for installing a plugin because you're using GA right now. All you have to do to make it work with your website is install the plugin and put your code in, and you're up and running. So look for Google Analytics dashboard. That's the one. Install it, activate it, you got 2 points. Done. Now, if you're doing your website on a Mac and you chose to use XAMPP and you haven't put your Mac user codes in yet, you are now going to find out you have to do that. Not a big deal, which is yet one more thing I'll take you to and show you. If you go back to week 5, you have Mac user codes for installing themes and plugins, okay, right here in week 5. Go in there, take this, put it in the bottom of your wp-config file in the right root directory, because if you're still using your computer with XAMPP, you might have a few different WordPress sites now set up, your demo site, your test, and this. Go into the very bottom of the file, paste that in there, then take this and paste it into like a text edit file. Don't put it right into the terminal. Paste it into a text file first, and you're going to have to replace each time you see the folder name WordPress with whatever you named the folder for your final project root directory. That makes sense, right? I shouldn't have to go back and show you guys this, but I'm trying to really make sure everybody's on top of this in the post-strike apocalypse. Hadi.
Do you, like, is it okay if I leave it as WordPress, or do you want me to change, not that, the file itself? Like,
Did you already set it up? The root directory, you mean?
Do it back, it's not a problem.
The root directory, you mean?
Yeah, I did leave that.
You promise it's not just your demo site and you're just going to do your demo site? I just wanted you guys to do one more install, so I thought you could rename it Final Project even. No, if you go through the rubric, there are no points applied to the name of your root directory, so no. Although I would have liked, it just makes me think that you literally just went back into the demo site and started working on that, but
I mean,
maybe.
do it, but it's not.
And if you did, whatever to that too, because honestly, all you're doing by installing a new database is spending an extra 5 minutes downloading a new install of WordPress and renaming the root directory and doing the WP config file. It's not a big deal. No,
Just making sure.
it's fine. As you will see as we go through, it's not going to be in that list. So that's a good thing I wanted to make sure I covered for the Mac users. Now we're finally on to content, pages and posts. This is always the big controversial thing. Well, how many pages? How many posts, Mike? What about what? I don't know. Okay, I realize I've given you a length for your planning post, and if you would have done the project plan report, I gave you a specific length. That was very specific. This is a website. There is no right or wrong answer. Should you have a bunch of pages with like 5 words in them each? No. Yoast has already made that really clear. This is not good for your traffic. You need to have at least 300 words per page. Well, I don't in my contact page, so I only got it to be orange instead of green. That's okay, all right? Not every single page has to have it, but generally speaking, I want to see the amount of pages I would expect to see to set up the main static navigation of a website for your topic, and I want everybody to use the posts functionality of WordPress for something. If you're not designing a blog as your final project, which most of you aren't, what could you use it for? Well, I could use it for news. I could use it for what's new in the store. I could use it for my resume site to break down each of my experiences, and I could do like a few posts on each and talk about the best things I learned there. Because in a resume, you got to keep it really short, right? But if you've developed a portfolio website and an employer really wants to know more about you, you could use the blog as the experience section of your website and write about it. So it doesn't have to be called a blog, but you should be creating posts for something. And then you should be establishing categories for okay, you're sitting right in front of me.
Yeah.
What's your website again? Because you're hooking up your buddies, right? You're doing
Yeah.
So what do they do?
It's a filter company.
Okay, so they make for engines, right?
No, but it's for air purification.
Oh, for like an HVAC system.
Exactly.
Okay, so Mitch is doing a website on a company that manufactures filters for commercial or residential, or both.
Yeah.
There's 2 categories: commercial, residential. Here are some new products in the right. Have people leave reviews and put them into your blog, okay? And for the context of the project, you'd have to make a few up because it's due in a few weeks, right? So, you guys get what I'm saying. Who wants to ask me to help them with it? Like, just come up with something. You could always, and you wouldn't call it blog. You could use the blog to lay out all your products because you're probably not going to sell it, right? This is more of a B2B thing. It's just kind of advertising for the product, which can be found at these fine retailers.
This is kind of like a teaser site. Like that's the whole
Yeah.
the motive of doing it right now.
Oh, okay, so check out our new.
There's not a product right now to offer. So
Oh.
there's no way they can.
So you're a man. Okay, hey, listen up. This is interesting. This is really similar to a lot of these medical marijuana. Excuse me. Medical marijuana companies that claim they're producing something when all they're really doing is trying to harvest investors for something they might make in the future. And most of them were previous numbered companies, like corporations, like publicly held corporations that were involved in the mining industry, graphite. Like, are you guys into any of these pot stocks, as we call them? Okay, so they're super risky. Okay, just be careful, all right? But what's going on is that their websites are set up in a way that it's like a preview of something that's going to be. So in that context, how could I use the blog? Well, I could use the blog about all the steps I'm taking to get this business off the ground. I could use the blog to talk about the different categories of products that we're going to be making, to ask for feedback from potential consumers if we're missing something, right? Like, it's no matter what, I'm going to come up with a reason for you to use the blog. This is a pretty arbitrary thing, this 15 points here. Okay, that's out of all the stuff in here, there's a couple that are kind of like just up to me. I'll just look at your content and decide, yep, this isn't worth 15. It's worth about this because I decided, okay? And I will give you the rubric terminology if you want it, or I'll just show you one that was 15 and you'll know why you didn't get 15. And some of you will, and that's fine. Okay, because what's going to happen is you're going to submit this ahead of time. And what? Oh, you're going to submit. I got to better get back to Martin on that. You're going to submit this ahead of time to me, and one of the submissions will be your database, which is another thing I'm going to show you at the end of this video here. And the database is the thing that I get to open up in brackets, which sections out all the code. So it's not just one big splatter of code on a screen, and I can actually read some of your content. I can see if you have the plugin installed for analytics. I can go through and see if you have your YouTube videos done. I can grade 90% of the thing through your database until you get there and you show me the things I've missed and you show me the relevant images and graphics and stuff like that, and then we get to the 5th P. So this is going to be based on the general makeup of content, but what you have in your pages and posts. Okay, so don't just have 5 pages that are set up that you're going to put stuff in. You actually have to have stuff in them, or you're going to get killed there in that category. And the next one will be the same thing. So if you don't have content, frankly, you have nothing to optimize. So, and because when it comes to Yoast, we're talking about 20 points here. This is the single most largest item in your rubric. Okay, and I will go and check. I'm not just going to do this. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go in. Okay, I'm going to go in here. Oh, that's mega windows. Here we are. So I'm not going to go in here and look at how. So I have some stuff optimized here. Okay, I'm going to go in and look at the Yoast column and say, oh, well, yeah, I'll give you a few marks because you got a few to be green. You may still be getting no marks. Okay. Don't play games with me on Yoast. This is a really important practice. I've told you guys this entire course. You can build the whole website and the skeleton for this thing in like a half an hour. If you get really good at it, you could probably crank it out in about 20 minutes. What matters is what you put into it, the content. That's what matters. So if I go in here and you've gotten this to turn green by optimizing the word and, okay, which you can sort of play games with the Yoast rating system if you have a teacher grading you on it and make this green without actually using a proper keyword phrase. Now, I use the phrase here, ABCA special board meeting. So that phrase then has come up. And if you want to know more about this, you got to go back to the Yoast video. But you actually have to have done the snippet. You have to have gone in and spent some time on the content. I will not grade readability. Okay, I think it's very difficult to dodge that passive voice wherever it can be. I like to write in a more professional tone, and Yoast can't stand it because they want every sentence to have like 10 words, and they want you to write it like a grade 4 level, and that's actually pretty important when you're on the web or when you're reading from a screen or with any kind of internet connectivity. If you're reading from a screen that isn't a Kindle, which is meant to get around this, reading from a digital screen, allegedly, they've done all these studies on it, takes away a certain amount of grade levels of reading. You don't read the same as you do from a piece of paper. There's something else going on that's affecting your ability to comprehend in the same way. So Yoast knows that. Yoast doesn't want you to go on about things too long. Yoast wants your paragraphs to be shorter. Yes, they want at least 300 words per page or post, but if you're going to use headings and go on a bit longer, they want no more than 300 words under each heading. Long is not bad, okay? Long is not bad. It's just writing long the right way. All right, so I'm going to be focusing on this side of Yoast. My degree students might have a little bit of, like they do have some points applied to the readability because it's a different program, but you guys will not, okay? So 20 points. Now, how is that broken up? Generally speaking, I do a thing where in my head I'm kind of going 6, 6, 4, and 4. Have they optimized pages? Have they optimized posts? And all of them, okay? Well, I didn't touch my if you missed like 1 or 2, that's not a big deal. But you can't just optimize the top couple pages and then say I did it. It's a lot of work. That's why it's worth 20 points. You need to do them all. Okay? 6 and 6. Depending on how it was done, I might go 8 and 8 and then take off a little less if you forgot to do categories and tags. But remember, you optimize your pages and posts in these areas that I'm showing you down in the Yoast module of the dashboard there. And yes, I can see the ratings by just going to the pages area of the dashboard if I just go like this. But that's not good enough. I don't care if that's green or not. I'm going to go in and find out why. Same thing with posts. Then A smaller amount of points will come in from categories and tags, because as I showed you, I want you to have categories and tags, which is 5 points, and then I want you to optimize at least 3 of each. So 3 categories. So you need to go in. You could see I've tried to play around with this one a little bit. Give it some kind of description, doesn't have to be super long, and then go and do the snippet. You want to actually optimize this. I want to see at least orange on these, because this is another place in your website where you can go. So categories, tags, pages, posts, with more weight applied to the pages and posts. Moving on, okay? Optimization of image content. We already talked about that. Appropriate keywords, okay? That's alt text and description. I already went through that whole thing. The link title thing I already went through. Using headings wherever possible. Headings are a very good way to make things a little easier on your users. If there are a large amount of instructions when you're purchasing like a vacation package on a website, there's always all these like legal paragraphs. It's always broken up really well with headings and everything, where if you look at the back of like a credit card statement, it's just this jam-packed, loaded, text-filled thing. In the context of the web, they break it up a lot more to make it easier to read. Use your headings, and then keep using the focus keywords in those headings when you can. And try not to have more than 3, but using the headings alone, just having them there, is another couple points. And you guys know how to do HTML headings in your WordPress site, right? You don't need me to review that? Maybe I will, just to be really safe, okay? So if you're in a post, right, and you want to do a heading, okay, this is something I was in the middle of. Now I have Tiny MCE installed, so I have a little more. I think this would still be there, though. You'd still have access to this. Oh, no, you don't. No, this is from Tiny MCE. So I have all this extra stuff, and a lot of themes come with that, too. But if you had to go and code it, big deal, right? How do you do heading 1? H1. Okay, heading 1. Well, you don't have to type heading 1 in there. That's stuff. Okay, close H1. You remember that from the web workshop, right? So you can use these in a logical sort of, so there's actually a progression or like an order to them, the hierarchy of headings. All right, almost done. So then this thing, okay? This is a really simple 2-point thing, and this is like the Google Analytics plugin thing. There's a few in here that I've just thrown in there to see, just to make sure you still remember these things are available in WordPress. You will, in time, end up installing something at some point and expect to see something in the dashboard area, and it's not there. It's probably because you have to go into the screen options and turn it on. Like if you don't see your Yoast when you're making a post, maybe your theme didn't allow it to be turned on by itself. See how Yoast is gone? It's because I expanded the theme options and turned it off. So you need to turn it back on. Just to make sure I still see that you can do this, I want the slug turned on for your pages and posts. So you need to go into a page and go into a post and turn it on. Now, watch. If I turn this off and stay on page and I update, okay, and I scroll down here, I don't see the area indicating what my slug is. The slug is the URL. That's what it's actually called in WordPress. And if I go to another post where I know it used to be on too, okay, it's off here too. If I turn it back on and I update and I go back to that first post, it will be turned back on there. So it's not like you got to go to every single page and every single post and turn it on to get 2 points. You just have to go into a page and post and make sure it's turned on, and it should still be turned on then when your post creation page is up. See, when I go back here, now it's turned on again, okay? 2 points just for doing that. There's your slug right there. So your slug shows you just the part of the URL that's associated with this particular page. And then finally, this last big one, the 5th P. This is what everybody's always asking me about right before it's due. What the heck's the 5th P? Okay, we talked about the 5th P weeks and weeks ago. What are we talking about? What is it? I made this the content of your test. What's the word it stands for? Thank you. Good job. Okay. Meaning, Get people involved, engage them, intrigue them, compel them, do something on your website that doesn't make it seem like a boring piece of crap. Anything you can think of. Well, that doesn't give us much, Mike. There are rating plugins that you can use for different products or pictures you have on your site. There's all kinds of rating plugins. They're awesome. Just do a thing like that and you'll get partial marks. Anybody who's doing WooCommerce or retail or integrating something like that automatically is going to have partial marks. Set up some sort of contest where your users, you don't actually have to have it up and running. You have to show me that you came up with ideas that would help engage them. Okay? Have more multimedia, have a better way to format like imagery and videos and just have, now I'm not giving you points for engagement for having your 2 YouTube videos. That's different. I'm not giving you points for engagement for doing the contact forms, which is the last thing I'm doing here. I'm about to do that, okay? You just have to, you have to do something, okay? And then the very last thing that I sort of skipped over, okay, which is the contact form, where is it? Contact form 7, right here. At least 2 different contact forms using a form builder as shown in class. I don't care which form builder you use. And there's a lot of reasons to do this kind of stuff. It's not, generally speaking, the kind of stuff that I'm trying to pull off here doesn't really work. I've had a few people fill this in. Okay. Hey, apply for a free home appraisal. This shit doesn't really work. People don't want to be bothered by this, okay? But in case it might, it's really easy to make. And a plugin like Contact Form 7, which is the one I'm about to show you, it actually works and functions for a lot of other things inside of themes too. So I want you to show me at least a couple different examples of contact forms where users could supply you with information, tell you how they found out about your website, give you a bunch of details about their event, something like that. Like, you can set it up however you want, okay? So in here, let's go back to my brother's website there. I think I closed it. WP admin. In your dashboard, I want you to go to plugins again. At least while you're here today, you should get this plugin installed with me, okay? Plugins, install plugins, add new. Okay, and I want you to look for a plugin called Contact Form 7. Like, I see a lot of you not doing this. Like, do this. 6 points. I'm showing you how to get your 6 points right now. Install it. Okay, if you are on XAMPP or if you have not updated your version of WordPress, this is look, last updated 6 days ago. This is updated very frequently. Usually it's like within a couple days. Whenever WordPress updates, it updates. Sometimes this updates and pushes a WordPress update. That's how often this plugin is used. So go and install it and activate it. I'm going to show you how to crank out a really simple form, okay? So when you get this plugin, like some plugins do, it will add its own menu right into your dashboard. Okay, some don't. Some you have to go into settings and find them. And my brother's site actually has another form plugin here. I don't care which one you use. Ninja Forms is good too. Okay, Contact Form 7, Ninja Forms, some other plugin you found that makes forms. Not some stupid pre-done form that was already on your contact page. Because that's not even set up to be sent to a certain place, okay? You can set these up. So in your Contact Form 7 menu, if you go to integration, okay, you can configure certain keys, you can set up your CAPTCHA, all that kind of stuff. But the cool thing about Contact Form 7 is it's automatically, when you hit a submit button, going to be set to send the information to whatever email address is set up here for the administrator, which I guess the other forms should be doing too. So you go into Contact Forms and you should see one that's already made. And if you wanted to make one, you could go to add new form, and you have all these things. And it always starts by giving you a little bit of stuff, like your name, whatever. Well, let's say I wanted to do a drop down, right? So I can go in here, go drop down menu. I can put my options in here, and then I would have a drop down menu, right? So when I go into my site where I've already made something like this, how do I keep closing these windows? Okay, I didn't record any of that, but let's, so if I add a drop-down menu, I can enter each thing by saying item 1, whatever, item 2. Okay, I can insert the tag, and it puts it in the code where I need it. I can add paragraph breaks around these to format them, and that's what I did sort of here with my form to give it a little more space in between the form fields, and there's a drop-down menu. So it's really easy to generate this stuff, and once it's done, okay, you save the form, and it'll give you a code right here. And if you go into contact forms without even opening up the form, each form will have a code right next to it. Okay, now I didn't give that a title. It probably would be better if I gave it an actual title so I knew what form it was. So this is my my how did you find us form. Okay, now obviously it's not a great form because I don't want to in the video go through and add all these, but there's all these different fields. Okay, you can add the CAPTCHA field for security. It's everything's just there. It's purely WYSIWYG. It's full on WYSIWYG. Then you take that code from here, or you take that code from here, and you put it into the visual view of the site. You don't even have to use code view. You go here, you copy it. You go into that fake post I'm making here. Okay, so right down underneath this stuff, I'm going to go in and say, how did you find us form? I'm going to put it right there in visual view. When you have these short code plugins, you do not put it in text view. It'll just come up as the code. You put it in visual view. Then I update, and I go view post. This will take you like 10 minutes. Look, there's the form. It's already there, all set up. And when I hit send, it sends to, did you guys see that? Okay, so you may encounter, the reason I saved this till the end is because I wanted to show you this, I want to do this little mini presentation on short code stuff. You may very well encounter a lot of plugins that do the short code thing. So on my page, for example, I wanted to do a couple posts on the front of my static page. Okay, I should probably get rid of that fake post I just made. And I want my latest post to appear there, but I don't want my front page to be my blog roll. So I found a plugin called Posts in Page where you can set it up. I'll show you. It's just a short code. That's the same way I got those columns on the page because the page layout I wanted didn't allow me to do columns. So I got a plugin that allows me to make columns. And a lot of these little mini plugins usually end up in settings. So under settings, you could see easy columns. That was the name of the plugin. Short code any widget. Posts in Page right there. There it is. So Posts in Page allows me to set up all posts, show post by ID, just a few posts. Okay, so where is it? Limit number of posts. So I go here, okay, and I can limit the number of posts then in the code. So you just paste that code right in there, and then it tells you what to do, and then the posts just show up. It's freaking awesome. It's all totally WYSIWYG. And that's how the contact form plugins work. So that's another 6 points. And the reason I save that till the end is because everybody always says, oh, well, I got these 2 contact forms. I got a contact form for my contest, and that's making up the contest will give you some points in your 5th P. Making the contact forms was just part of the general stuff I asked you to do. That is not 5th P. You need to actually do something to engage your users. And there is tell us a story, right? And then post your favorite one monthly. People get really into that stuff. I've seen pet stores, like local pet stores, like take off by doing stuff like that. Send us your videos, right? And that's, I mean, when you look at social platforms like Instagram, like that's what the entire platform is founded upon, is engaging each other. But I mean, I want to say that's what all social media is about, but it really isn't. Okay, Instagram is the one that still is true to that. You're engaging each other with each other's lives. And it's cool. I mean, so you want to engage your users by telling them that they matter, by getting them to participate. That whole thing we did on the 5th P. And that is the entire final project breakdown, okay? Are there any questions specific to this breakdown? I know you guys want to come up and you need help. I'm just going to go over those 2 assignments, okay? Okay, good. No? Yes? Okay. Everything was covered there. I wanted to also make sure I went back into the content, okay? Top of week 9 is where the planning post is. So I've downsized, well, I haven't really downsized it. I've altered the nature of your project plan report assignment and combined it with you showing me that you can use Yoast. Okay, all of the instructions are here. And if you go into content in week 12, which is where we would have originally done Yoast, but instead we covered it in week 9, a brand new video on Yoast that also shows you how to use it to complete the planning post is also there, okay, at the top of week 12. So all of these resources are there. I know that I might not see some of you next week, so I just want to make sure I explain these things. That one in the Dropbox is due on Sunday night, okay? A bunch of people have turned it in already. You guys just don't go nuts with it. I've explained the rubric to you. I showed you the rubric. I'm being very sort of, this is like a pass-fail mentality here. You still have to take it seriously and put some work into it. Then there is this, and those are the only two things left before your final project, which is the by the detail to detail rubric, okay, that you got to follow. Okay, so this milestone screenshot thing, if you want to see what, I'll just explain what I'm looking for right now, but it's based on this. So if you go into week 8, it's based on this. You were going to come in the last few weeks before the final project was due, and you were going to show me in each week that you'd reached a certain level, okay? And you'd get this little chunk of a percentage of your final mark for not doing it all at the last minute. It's not giving you participation for coming to class. It's just, hey, I'm working on this the way you're supposed to work on a website. I'm not just slamming it all together in an hour, so I should get some credit for that, and I will. And I'll still, now this, there is no late box for this. This is like, you do it or you don't. So by midnight on the Friday of the end of next week, which after that you're off for Christmas, like just sometime before next Friday, if you're already there, you should do it right now and get your 5%. I want screenshots that demonstrate to me that you have started your website, which is obvious. You just take a sit, but more than that, that you have created some pages and posts and that you are using Yoast. So unlike the planning post, where the screenshots I actually want, in addition to your post, you take your post once it's done and you copy and paste the post into a Word document. Then underneath that, I want these screenshots. I want a screenshot of the snippet area opened up and expanded, like this chunk. And then I want a screenshot of the whole Yoast section like this. You might have to fix your resolution to get it to show. I don't even need to see the category and tag part. Like, I won't even know if you actually did the category and tag. I'm just asking you to do that as a best practice. For the screenshots for the milestones, I want you to go to your pages and show me your pages area. And I want to see multiple pages. I'm not giving you a number where you've tried to start optimizing them. I want you to go to your posts and I want to see multiple posts where you've tried to start optimizing them. And I want you to go and show your site, and I want to see a customized menu. That's what I need, those 3 screenshots. And you will get 5% for submitting them on time. Do not email me those. I'm making myself really clear on this. I am being extremely generous with this, because when I usually do those milestones, if the work isn't done up to that point, I do not give the credit. I'm adding them all together and saying, send me those few screenshots and if you're confused about what I'm looking for, go back to the milestone thing in content and you can send me 5 or 6. I don't care. You might need to do a bunch to show me that you've done the work, as long as you can show me that you've done the work. Okay, the milestone stuff is right here. Any questions about that? Okay, so and then hopefully the people that missed the second class this week will go and watch this so they know what the heck's going on. And next week again, I will be holding both classes in both sections. The first class will have a little bit of lecture with lab time. The next class will be all lab time.